Previously on Soul Mechanics.
I'm going to raise a serious question here of the ways in which celebrity culture devours and destroys democracy. To kick this off,
thing I'd like to present that may or may not turn out to be something important here is that I actually recall having seen this girl do a really big speech that was huge on the internet time ago. Like a long, long time ago.
Yes.
I remember this girl.
For the past year.
I mean, further than a year. Like, I'm not jumping on the whole weird conspiracy thing, but the Mandela effect thing. Like, it seems like something's changed here. I'm noticing an inconsistency in my memory.
Yeah, London, October 2018. TikTok in November 2018. Another climate change summit, December 2018. Something called Davos. In January 2019, European Economic and Social Committee. February 2019, Berlin. And March 2019. So she's been talking and all over the place and doing speeches and stuff.
Right, but since 2018.
Right.
See, now,
Like
I remember her back in, 2016, maybe.
So she would have been 13.
In this day and age, our attention span is so short, which means that things that grab our attention is that much more critical.
Alright. I mean...
Impact. It's because of this
Yeah,
Rothschild thing.
Yeah, that seems to play a big part on the negative aspect of this girl going viral, is that she apparently rode some yacht, expensive yacht.
That was funded by the Rothschilds.
Okay, but again, we don't know what got from A to C.
Yeah,
that boat could have been donated. That I don't know. I hope that could have had 20 different owners.
What exactly
Who
do
knows?
we
I mean,
know
we don't know.
about for sure about the Rothschilds and what
It's all speculation. Kind of thing where all these people are digging through 10-year-old tweets and getting people in trouble and making them apologize, and then telling them that all we want you to do is apologize, and then when they do apologize, you say, well, that's not enough. And so you have to stop working forever, and you can't have a job. And so I understand his big problem with this.
Yeah,
but
right.
Again,
and I mean, if you have a fuck ton of money backing you up, you could, for example, go ahead and talk about, forcefully grabbing women's vaginas without their consent and still be elected president. I think we just found the basis of this scenario, this particular investigation. We began with environmental activism and Greta Thunberg, but this isn't about Greta Thunberg, is it? And this is an instance where, again, the world is speaking through us, and it's delivering a message through us that we were heretofore unaware of until this very moment, wherein it becomes evident that this series of videos that we're doing here is actually about environmental crisis as regards our environment as our...
That's fucking beautiful. It's hilarious because I have been personally, in my life, in my personal experience, literally gawked at, gasped at for insinuating that somebody could change their mind or change the way that they feel about something that's something that's wholly untouchable to younger people now.
Alright, what are we going to do about the tragedy of ocean acidification? There's a sense in which it doesn't touch us, but it's our moral responsibility, wiping out the vast majority of ocean.
Where does he live? Do you know anything about?
Why? Something that I noticed is that one of your first questions about everybody is where do they live?
Because I'm curious. I told you earlier, you should get a map. And then, and things pop up, and he gets very passionate about this stuff, and he comes over and he's like, I found this video of this chick, and she does all these cool videos, or this guy, and he makes all this cool stuff. And I wanted to get an idea of the geological reach that you're having.
So, we all acknowledge that you do not think that she should be used to prop up a political agenda. Okay. That does not shut down the conversation. It is at this time that the appropriate thing to do would be acknowledge the things that she's saying. We get it. You don't like that she's a kid, okay? That doesn't shut down the conversation. It doesn't. That's
cancer on Earth, leave room for nature, leave room for nature. Those are the 10 Commandments on the Georgia Guidestones.
Okay, so the Georgia Guidestones are fucking awesome.
Conclusion, and why do we have to, why should we follow that, that commitment of that specific number? That's where all the questions come in.
I will give a good reason, because it's a pretty decent idea. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, except the only thing that's wrong with maintaining that number...
we have to kill a bunch of people?
Well, no, now we do, but... Now we do, but...
No, we don't.
We don't. We're not going to kill a bunch of people. Again, I'm not promoting killing everybody.
Years old, somewhere on the autism spectrum, and being paraded around like some sort of Joan of Arc. I mean, it's probably clear at this point that I am not a parent, but like, nobody wants your hope, kid. We're adults. We're fresh.
Something, Lady Sydney, you are not an adult, and you very most certainly do not speak on behalf of adults just doing damage to you. You are trying to, and probably succeeding at, convincing people to disregard the environment and any issues that might be occurring with it, because whomever your spokesperson is disagrees with that. What did she say first? She said that kids are...
no one comes to children for
nobody
anything.
comes to children. It's like, listen, a girl pops up, she says that she's pissed off because we fucked up her planet. She has every fucking right to be. I'm pissed off too.
Well, that's another thing too, is that I don't see how that subject in and of itself, like, just basic, plainly on its face, should we do more to protect the environment? Flat out, how is that a political idea? I think it said somewhere that she had selective mutism, so I mean, obviously speaking isn't one of her, like, things that she's a fucking expert at,
yeah,
obviously,
she did a TED Talk, speaking about that particularly, and as it happens, what they're meaning to say by selective mutism is that she doesn't talk about things that she isn't passionate about or she doesn't feel are important, but she is perfectly equipped to speak at length about things that she does feel are she's passionate about.
Alright, so hence the speech. That makes perfect sense.
He did in fact confirm that it is Thunberg. It is pronounced Thunberg. I was right all along, as fucking usual.
Something is worth the destruction it causes. Yeah, I'll be dead one day. So why are you here with that logic then?
We're on the way to Subway, actually.
We do a vegan sandwich in Subway.
Yeah, but it's not as good as the steak and cheese.
What about the environmental impact?
Well, the steak and cheese is already there, so, I mean, me not eating it isn't going to stop them.
What we're seeing here specifically with this particular item of inquiry, this interview, is a very particular value presenting that I've made note of earlier in this series, in the investigation. Is this sort of what I'm seeing as being a kind of excuse and escape mentality, and that I think is going to be the primary issue in regards to this, implementing action against this particular, on behalf of, or against, for, against, whatever, in the context of this particular dilemma. Atheism, in and of itself, taken on as a belief structure, as a consideration, presents a barring or a blocking of any values that would allot for us to fix that particular problem. If we have such ideas as reincarnation at play, again, it doesn't matter if reincarnation is real or not. What matters is that we're thinking about it, we're considering it. So somebody says, I might be alive then, and in ways you are, regardless, even if you don't give birth to children, even if you don't have your own children, there are so many different ways in which you are, in fact, going to be alive whenever the disaster hits, whenever this comes down on us. It does affect you directly.
We only have one world. The apocalyptic claim of the world ending in 12 years is no doubt ridiculous, but if our data and interpretations are correct, that is, if the vast majority of our scientists are correct, another 12 years of apathy may just push us beyond a safe return. We do have to take this very seriously, and at the moment, most of us don't.
Hola, welcome one and all to a very special installment of Soul Mechanics. This is the attacking of Greta Thunberg's entity spectacular extravaganza, in what we are hoping to thoroughly demolish any respectful sentiments that people may be holding in regard to Greta Thunberg. And why, one might ask? I will tell you very simply, because she's not quite as old as we are. And due to this fact, we are attempting to impress upon the audience that she is to be regarded as a worthless piece of trash and to be disregarded at all costs. So, Sweetie Cheeks, your thoughts?
Welcome. Again, I think the main point here is that, you know, she's younger.
She's younger
than adults.
We're believing
so,
that she's...
Duh. Just forget that bitch.
she is generally lacking in what we'd think of as being any applicable life experience.
I love that term too. That's what everybody uses. The life experience. She doesn't
no
have
life
it.
Experience.
She doesn't have it. She doesn't know the things that we know.
Yeah. Now, just to step in on the factor there, I can personally vouch for various students I've had who are roundabouts ages 15 to 17 to 18 to 20, who, you know, primarily roundabouts the ages 17 to 19, who are more capable and qualified than 90% of the adults I've met throughout the entirety of my life.
Well, isn't that was one of the things that popped up when I was years ago, when you, like, read about the psychic stuff? It's always that the little kids are, like, more open, and they have, like, the past life dreams and that kind of stuff. And so you could actually make the argument that the younger the wiser.
Right, and I mean, it should be expected that we are moving towards a time where, you know, people should be advancing faster. We should be expecting younger people to be advancing faster. Now, I know that this is, like, kind of skewed, because there are so many younger parents now who are mind-blowingly stupid.
Well, I think the trend is the younger parents end up not being as involved as the grandparents. So, like, our parents' generation is actually raising two generations of people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that could be the trend a little bit. I don't really know, like, the numbers or statistics, but that's an interesting thing to think about, because there's a lot of differences, I would say, between the two generations. So it's kind of weird that they're kind of been raised by the same people.
It's a very odd thing, too, because I see, like, parents that are roundabouts our age are just ridiculously stupid. Like, it's like they get detached from their own personal development. I mean, it's understandable, but you do have to be, like, responsibility for your children comes with the component of being wise and understanding.
Well, maybe that's the whole, like, responsibility, phobia, allergy that is happening now with the really, really younger kids.
Ooh, yeah.
Because there is when you talk about responsibility, I feel like there's a lot of things that fall under the umbrella of responsibility. There's so many things, like your own thoughts and actions and behaviors, and then there's the practicality of, you know, taking care of yourself and you're having a life and all that, you know, junk, the institutionalized type of junk, or, you know, go to work every day, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of factors that fall under the, you know, umbrella of responsibility, and it seems that they're just like, I don't know, younger kids are just looking for an out. Any way that they can out of being responsible for anything at all.
It's funny, just to note, I mean, we have, you should have seen, I think we're going to attach it here, you should have seen a recap intro that's fairly long. I apologize for that, but we had a lot to say and to bring up, and we do intend to try and drop all these points in this video, but it's like that, again, it's that the value I raised in just the previous video that I also apologize was fairly shitty.
was the escape or excuse and escape mentality, where it's like, well, something that, I mean, as regards environmental issues or systemic issues regarding our environment, our physical environment, is that the damage is done behind us and there's nothing we can do to change it now, whilst the damage that will be done is too far ahead for us to give a shit about it. So right now we don't have to care.
We're in this perfect moment where we're
the
hands go up like the emoji, like it's like,
we're just totally
sorry,
hands off,
like,
completely
you're
responsibility-less.
Exactly. You're either blaming the people that are older than you or counting on the people that are younger than you to be able to just like fix it, which I think is so funny. Or in some people's case, I've heard this argument many times too, with regards to when that whole Greta Thunberg thing happened. It's like, well, it's gonna be fine. Like, that's another one I always thought was so funny too. Like, oh, there's nothing wrong. Like, don't look at the man behind the curtain kind of thing. Like, oh, we might not be eating lobster, but it's cool, like, and everything's gonna be fine. Yeah, right, like, it's not, one guy, literally was like, it's not gonna be that bad, like, like, that was his whole argument. It might be that bad. The dude who did the fucking interview on the street with that guy who I thought was somebody else, but the steak and cheese is already there. So, the kid.
like, dude,
right, that was a little kid,
what you do
though,
is you not eat it. Like, that's...
If you're at, if you're taking this principled stand against, eating meat or whatever.
So, if you're going to be thinking it's all fine, the newer generations will clear it up for us, they'll take care of it, then how are you at the same time going to say that the more recent generations are not equipped?
Right, like you're putting all your eggs in their basket to fix all the problems, the current problems, but then at the same time saying, but they have no life experience. Right. They're so stupid, they can't do anything. Like,
if you're not going to step up, then you're implying that they're going to.
But they, right now, shouldn't have any opinions or thoughts for themselves because they have not enough life experience. If you don't have enough life experience, then you have no right having an opinion or dare speaking that opinion in front of other people. Like, oh my gosh, I thought that was what this whole point of, like, the internet and social media was supposed to be. And that's, I get it. It's kind of a cliche thing. Everyone has a voice, like, but it's true. But that just doesn't apply to anyone below the age of, like, 20. That's another thing. What's the cutoff? Like, she's 17.
Exactly. And by what measure do we justify or qualify life experience?
Exactly.
Like, this girl is on the fucking stage addressing the UN. What the fuck have you done? Seriously.
That's funny, too.
You're going to be like this dude on the Sky...
YouTube videos.
The Sky News thing that I saw is another one.
Is that the Australian?
Yes, Sky News Australia, where this dude is going to say that.
I don't want that.
Anybody that's raising this issue and causing for Greta Thunberg to think that there's a problem, causing her anxiety about environmental efforts and environmental problems, it's effectively child abuse. They're abusing her by causing for her to be anxious, and
I have so many.
But she doesn't have a hand in it.
I have so many issues with that. So you're looking out for her, this poor girl who's been abused. Oh my gosh! But saying that she couldn't possibly have any kind of thoughts for herself or decide for herself what she cares about or what's passionate to her. But we should protect her because she's just a child. Like, it's so fucking
Remind you, let's look out for her. Right, exactly. Let's look out for her, but her ideas aren't really, they don't matter. And
put some duct tape over her mouth and we'll just protect her.
Who gives a fuck about environmental troubles? I mean, the science says we're in danger, but let's just let it slide. This young girl's being abused, by the way. Everybody look over here at the girl being abused. Meanwhile, the fucking planet's falling off the edge of the world over here, and nobody gives a shit.
Well, I mean, the planet itself is probably going to Like,
No,
it's not gonna just
it's likely
explode or whatever. Like, it'll figure out a way to survive.
Right, and to pull
by
out the
getting
words
rid of
of
us.
that douchebag, fucking essence of douche guy, essence of twat. We can. I don't want to refer to us as humanists because I don't think that's like we're a different breed altogether. At least the two of us are a very different breed
I don't
here.
want to pick a word. I don't want to pick a word.
We don't have this sort of a labeling, but I mean, I am on the side of humanity, and humanity is what's in danger here, not the planet.
Right, right. And I think that gets kind of, that point gets a little bit skewed in the gray area that is everybody arguing.
Right, and it's in danger here because of that. It's in danger here because our psychological environment is in a state of crisis. And that's what we're addressing, the environmental crisis.
In so many ways.
Our reality environment. Our very sense of reality. Like with this woke thing, the woke movement, people think they're woke.
It's just a trendy word. I mean,
It is, but I mean, it feels like there are people out there pretending to be us.
Oh, well, yeah. In all kinds of different
by honoring falsities, like the thing I've mentioned with this is not going to drop into the gender aspects, but just to touch on it for a second, you know, the false genders. I've seen 1,000 gender drinking game where people have done literally 1,000 genders. I think seriously 1,000 different genders.
That's a joke.
None of them. There's like 2 or 3 that are in any way realistic, but they aren't even. Like, I think trans male, trans female is in there.
And then the rest of them are just jokes.
And then asexual is like maybe kind of, that could be considered a sex, but again, it's the lacking of sex.
Yeah, that would
and
be.
Everything else, but there are people out there who are, there are people out here who take this fucking seriously. It's gotta be a joke. I mean, fuck me, if you tell me that's not a joke, I'm gonna fucking shoot myself.
Yeah, I would be comfortable saying that the 1,000 gender drinking game is probably a joke.
Well, the drinking game, obviously, the
the
drinking game is a joke. I'm saying there's a website that has the 1,000 genders, and that's what they're doing the drinking game for. It's like, I think they had it, honorable mentions would be ShoeOnHead and Greg, who we've been following, Armored Skeptic, who's really impressed me lately. That dude's fucking awesome. I'm going to put a link to their channels here, in fact. The girl ShoeOnHead, she opened him up and got him to reveal himself a little more.
That's the young girl.
That's the younger anti-feminist girl or anti-radical girl.
She's a cutie. She's a cutie.
She's awesome. And she got the Armored Skeptic to open up. Like, Armored Skeptic was at the bottom tier of people that I had even considered looking at, let alone, you know, pursuing, working with.
Yeah.
And when she opened him up and he took that stupid fucking helmet off and revealed himself and started being his real person.
Oh, that's the boyfriend. They're like, okay, they're a thing? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so we're supporting them. We'll put links to everybody.
Shorthand.
Obviously, everybody that we've addressed, we'll put links.
Yeah, the shorthand is, I was looking through some of her videos, and a lot of the time she just calls him Skeptic to shorten it, kind of a shorthand thing, so I wasn't sure if that's who you're talking about.
Armored, his name's Greg. He's actually 1 year younger than I am, so you can relate to him. He thinks
he's got plenty of life experience. Congratulations.
He could very well have enough.
You did it. You stayed alive long enough to know shit.
Yeah.
You didn't get hit by a bus in the past 10 years, so
but
we can rely on the things that you say because you're plenty old enough.
Should he ever see this, that motherfucker said something in one of his videos about, like, if I ever got lesser than 1,000 views on one of my videos, I'd consider it a total failure. Fuck you, asshole. You're a dick.
Aww.
That's, no.
I've heard people say that about, like,
their
Instagram pages. I've heard people say that about their Instagram pages. Like, if it doesn't get however many views, like, a post or whatever, then I'll probably just remove it. But it's people that are in, like, I think it's a radio show locally that I like, so it's people that are kind of a little bit more in the spotlight. If they don't get a certain amount of views, like I don't know, I think it's maybe like a law of averages thing where it like brings your average down, and so you just get rid of it and kind of put that.
Yeah, I get that, but we are not panderers. We will never pander to anyone. We are not going to. We are not going to sell out in any conceivable manner to increase our audience or what have you. And we are never going to ask people to donate fucking money to us.
That's weird.
And we are never going to remove any videos, no matter how fucking shitty we make them. We are principled and well within our disciplinary measures.
With all of our life experience.
We're professional with life
I
experience.
have a jacket. I don't know if you can tell. It's kind of blending into everything, but I'm very uncomfortable right now, and I don't like it.
She is so
super
so
weird.
well dressed. You look beautiful. She looks very beautiful.
I'm 34% more excellent.
34% more attractive.
Oh. Fuck you,
Automatically.
dude. We're an asshole.
I'm 37% more attractive with my jacket.
You're such a sexist.
This misogynist piece of shit that I am. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we're addressing Greta Thunberg on 3 fronts. 1 is going to be an interview she did on The Daily Show. 2 is going to be a TED Talk, and then we will be addressing directly the legendary speech she had given.
So the TED Talk, it's her TED Talk?
It's her TED Talk, and she addresses the issues regarding her behavioral, her
she has disabilities.
I guess you could say that. Disabilities, in a manner of speaking. These are not really to be regarded disabilities in any way, shape, or form, but that's, I'm sure the legal will be attributed to it.
I think in one of the interviews she did shortly after her speech said that she considers
the autism a superpower.
Yeah, those things to be a type of kind of a superpower, which I think is adorable. I commend
that's
her.
another thing that I think it was the Sky News Australia said something about that bad mouth, like demonstrably bad mouthing.
Yeah, like about the way that she speaks. That's another thing. That's like the instant. They're so funny. It's like the things that people go after are all the same. I mean, it's crazy. It's like the age thing, and then that's always next on the list. Is like, why does she sound so weird? Like, why do you fucking sound so weird? Like, I don't get what that has to do with anything. It doesn't change the information that's coming out of her face.
It's because people cannot see, and this is what
it's just a dig at her credibility.
We are
generally.
When we present the concept of spotters and this particular discipline that we work with, it's seeing reality. And people see that shit, their perception shoots out, it hits an aspect attached to the value of her personage, and it's an illusion. It's a distraction.
It immediately is like, she doesn't...
You can't see her. You can't understand what she's saying.
This is incredible because there's all these,
because she sounds weird, or some other thing is distracting me. It's child abuse here, or it's lack of life experience here, or whatever aspects that are attached to the actual value of what she's fucking saying, which is like what he said, what's his face, the dude that we addressed that fucking shamed us for making a video about him, Staggerson Jagz.
I didn't know if there's any.
We're still supporting him. I don't know. I haven't checked back.
I like his music. I mean, whatever, but
yeah,
he seems like a...
Oh, I did see a video, a more recent video he did where he was changing the guitar strings, and the motherfucker said, he said, well, my guitar string snapped, and I was just thinking, everything that you care about in life breaks, and anything you love just breaks down. And why should you even why should you even restring the guitar? Because it's just like, nothing's ever gonna work out. Like, oh boy.
Somebody needs a hug.
Yeah, I'm sorry, dude, but I mean, it needs saying. Yeah, snap out of that. That's not a good habit.
I genuinely hope that dude gets a hug from somebody. Yeah. I would do it, but he's far away.
He certainly deserves it.
I would give him a hug.
He's put a lot of work into his channel. He's made a lot of effort. He's done a lot of good. He's expressed a lot of great things.
He cracks me up. He's funny, and I like his music.
It's a shame to see him. Virtual hug, man.
Stags. Like it.
Stags, we back you. We're still backing you.
Having a bad day. Everybody has bad days.
Alright, so we're going to have to clip it for this one. We'll move on. In the next video, we're going to begin by addressing this interview, then the TED Talk, then the speech. So, everybody in attendance, pay attention. This is going to be a good one.